And we've kind of somehow managed to get back to our supernatural talk. It's impressive. But before we kind of move into our recommendations and then signing out, I want to just ask you, Ace, a few questions just about kind of what you do over there, and then maybe if you have any advice for us as a beginning podcast over here.
Oh, yeah. As far as SchmoesKnow podcast? Yeah, it's so basically I help out Copster with anything he needs. Mm-hmm. He's a little bit above me, and I help out with the entire running of the show. Since we are at the Collider Studios now, it's a lot of flipping over that we do beforehand. So I help out with that as well. It's a great experience, man. It's so cool when you get to, like, you know, watch these guys on YouTube and listen to these guys on podcasts and listen to them on the show and, you know, actually calling in and being a fan and then having to work with them. And then when you work with them, they're actually good guys and good people there and people you actually want to hang out with. It's such a relief, I guess you can say, because sometimes you're like, oh, I don't know, these egos might be big, but, you know, everyone's so down to earth and everyone's so kind and helpful, and everyone at Collider is super cool too, because that's always another thing too. When we merge Collider, it's like, how's that going to be? Well, they're great. Everyone there in Collider is great, and everyone on the Schmoes is really cool.
That's awesome. That's good to hear too, especially being a fan of them and listening to them. I know I'm a fan. Ozzy doesn't listen to it too much. He doesn't listen to a lot of podcasts though. Funny because he's on a podcast. But anyway.
Hey man, hey dude, I'm too busy.
It's all right. But yeah, that's definitely a relief to hear. But do you have any advice for us as a beginning pod? I mean, we're on episode 36. Is this? Bobby is saying #brand. I don't know exactly what that means, but and now they're dabbing. But you have any advice?
I mean, the first thing that comes to my head and the first thing that I've known even moving out to LA, because I'm a recent LA person who moved out here, and I've learned a lot about, because I work in production too, which is another thing I've learned a lot about. Number one thing, man, social media. Social media is God. If you guys pump up that social media like crazy, it really does help. And if it's like, and it doesn't have to be like in a very in your face sort of way. It's more of like an engaging, subtle kind of celebratory sort of way, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
It really helps out a lot. It helps out a lot.
All right, that's awesome. Our head of marketing, who's sitting right next to me, is definitely taking note of that. So
he's like, this guy knows nothing, man.
Oh my gosh, you just said no pressure. But
hey, Bobby, we love you. We love you, man. We love you.
So yeah, that's awesome, man. Thanks for the advice. Ozzy, do you have any?